Gene Toomer was born December 26, 1894, in Washington, D.C. with his dad Nathan Toomer and his mom Nina Pinchback, but his dad left within a year, so Gene's grandfather, Pickney Benton Stewart Pinchback, and his mother raised him. Nina soon died in 1909 of a failed appendicitis surgery, leaving Toomer without a mother as a teenager. Pickney Pinchback was a Union officer but soon became the first African American governor of the United States, making him the 26th governor of the state.
Gene changed between white segregated schools and black segregated schools, as he was both white from his mom and black from his dad, which formed his character and made him who we knew today. He didn't allow his race to define him, and he simply said that he was American. He graduated from Dunbar High School, a highly sought-after all-black school. Then he went off to college. He tried many different colleges like Wisconsin, Massachusetts, Chicago, and New York, and of those, he stuck to New York, where he began working on his short stories and poems.
The Harlem Renaissance was an era of growth within the black culture that took place in New York during the 1910s through the 1930s. Forms of black culture that was big during the Renaissance included art, music, theater, fashion, literature, and politics. Not only was Harlem, New York affected, but around the world was a shift in black culture and attitude. Although African Americans got a lot of attention and thrived during this Renaissance, there was plenty of criminal activities, unemployment, and bad living environments in the ghettos which they lived. Nightlife during the Renaissance was booming and involved activities such as clubbing, music, theater.
Gene Toomer was well known as being influential in the Harlem Renaissance. This came mostly from his book Cane, an experimental collection of short stories and poems that described the life of black people in the United States from their own perspectives and places. Its brilliance and uniqueness was its setting and perspective of life of African Americans. The order in which he told it also reflected his cleverness and literature. He started off talking about racism in the South. He then talked about his experiences in the North and how it differed. And at the end, he connected both of his opinions about the North and South, grouping the United States as a whole. This book was raised by many other authors in the Harlem Renaissance and cemented him as an important figure in the Harlem Renaissance forever. Although Cane was his jewel in his crown, it was far from his only literary work. Poems such as Reapers showed the cruelties of slavery through his signature style of imagery and metaphors. Another poem, Storm Ending, uses his signature haunting beautiful imagery to describe lightning striking the earth, using his imagery to highlight the contrast between the destructive storm and the beautiful flower in earth. His very last literary work, Blue Meridian, was a beautiful poem about the potential of unity in America. Throughout Gene's many poems, he seems to be showing his liking of the outdoors and relates racial topics and societal problems to nature in a way no one could.
In 1931, Gene married Marjorie Latimer, a writer who had two famous novels of her own. Their marriage was very controversial as Marjorie was white, while Gene was only half white. This blew up the public, leading to press going to their homes. Unfortunately, tragedy struck as during labor Marjorie was diagnosed with a heart leak and died of a hemorrhage during childbirth. Gene named their only daughter Marjorie in memory of his beloved wife. In 1934, Gene remarried Marjorie Content, the daughter of a wealthy family who worked as a photographer. This relationship also brought up controversy in the public, but Gene didn't care and moved his family to Doylestown, Pennsylvania in 1940, where he lived for 27 years.
In 1920, he worked as a principal for a school in Sparta, Georgia. During this time, there he witnessed the treatment of blacks in the South with Jim Crow laws in full effect. Laws and lynchings were used as tools to beat down blacks, and these experiences caused a shift in attitude for Toomer. He became more and more aware of the violences towards black people, having witnessed it himself in the South.
After a second marriage, he shifted from publicating works to his religion Quakerism, which he devoted most of his efforts towards in his late life. Mostly his works were under Quaker publication, but the majority of his work for them was in religious committees and helping their members. Quakerism is a denotation of Christianity. Their core tenet was that humans were uniquely valuable and that all humans should be treated equally. Inability to publish his works led him to eventually stop altogether, and he would die in 1967 due to poor health as a recluse.